Global warming is an extensive problem affecting all living things in Earth. The severity of global warming and climate change is able to cause extinction of animals and plant species due to the destruction of their habitats and the changes occurring to the habitat, specifically the rise of temperature in the atmosphere and in lake ecosystems. The increase of Earth's temperature is the effect of emission of greenhouse gases, with the root of the problem being human intervention in Earth's natural cycle. Human activities that increases emission of greenhouse effects are mining, combustion of fossil fuel, deforestation, and usage of appliances that emit chlorofluorocarbon gases, such as air conditioning and refrigerators. The effects of high concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere can cause an irreversible change towards Earth's ecosystem, as researched by Solomon, Nati, Fred Linkstein, and Plattner in 2009.
Greenhouse effect, a process that occurs when gases in the Earth's atmosphere trap the sun's heat. In carbon cycle, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is taken up by green plants through animal respiration and burning fossil fuels and wood. Methane is the major greenhouse gases, as there are many sources of anthropogenic methane emissions such as agricultural activities, wastewater treatment, oil and gas industries. CFC trap the heat in the lower atmosphere, causing the Earth to warm and affecting the climate and weather. Rising sea level. Expansion of seawater as it warms and addition of water from melting iceland are the two factors which cause the sea level rise. The oceans warm due to increasing global temperature, taking up more space in the ocean basin. Polar ice disappearance allows the water to absorb more solar energy than ice, so more heat from the sun would be absorbed from the Earth's surface. Coastal ecosystems are destroyed, including commercially valuable fisheries. Changes in precipitation patterns. As the temperature rises and the air becomes warmer, more moisture evaporates from the land into the atmosphere. Current climate forecasts suggest that increasing temperatures will intensify the planet's water cycle and increase evaporation. As a result, precipitation rises and the risk of flooding in regions impacted by storms is likely to occur compared to areas far away from storm threat. Ocean acidification. The increasing carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere is driving up ocean surface temperatures and causing ocean acidification. The ocean's surface layer absorbs extra atmospheric carbon dioxide gas, which makes the ocean water become more acidic as carbon dioxide is dissolved into the water. Acids are able to break down the shells of animals that live in the water. Some species can no longer make or keep their shells, like oysters and clams, as ocean water has become more acidic. El Niño, a complex and natural weather pattern that results in ocean temperatures in the Pacific Ocean near the equator varying from the normal. Many fish that live off the South American coast in the typically cooler waters are moving away or dying, causing the population of birds are affected as the fish die due to food shortage. Climate change is increasing the frequency of extreme El Niño events, causing droughts to increase, floods to worsen, and hurricane patterns to change.
The common problem that corresponds to climate change is air pollution. Black carbon, a particulate pollutant from combustion, contributes to the warming of the earth. Breathing in particulate matter presents the greatest health hazard because the particles are able to make their way deep into the lungs and bloodstream, causing cardiovascular and respiratory disease and premature death. The next one is drought. Drought has always been thought of dry, cracked earth and low levels of reservoirs. However, these are simply examples of various forms of drought, each of which is significantly different. The first one is meteorological drought. Meteorological drought is something related to precipitation, assessing the degree of dryness and the duration of the dry period. The second one is hydrological drought. It happens when the decreased precipitation affects stream flows, soil moistures, reservoirs and lake levels, and also groundwater recharge. Agricultural drought is triggered when available water supplies are not able to meet crop water demand. The next environmental catastrophe is flooding. They have brought devastation to every state and almost every country, and in many places they are getting worse. There are many major types of floods such as river flooding, coastal flooding, flash floods, and urban flooding. Flooding and heavy rainfall have been associated with numerous leptospirosis outbreaks around the world. Climate change has a wide variety of effects on human health and disease. So far, more than 3,069 people in West Africa have been killed by the intensified Ebola outbreak. Ebola can live in animals for years without making them ill. It is transmitted to humans by contact with infected animals. Climate change will be associated with longer transmission seasons for malaria in some regions of Africa. As temperatures warm, the Plasmodium parasite in the mosquito, which causes malaria, reproduces more rapidly, and the vector, which is the organism that transmits a disease such as mosquito, consumes blood more frequently. Forests are a major requisite front of action in the global fight against catastrophic climate change. They regulate ecosystems, protect biodiversity, play an integral part in the carbon cycle, and supply goods and services that can drive sustainable growth. Forests capture carbon dioxide at the rate equivalent to about one-third the amount released annually by burning fossil fuels. Stopping deforestation and restoring damaged forests, therefore, could provide up to 30% of the climate solution. Environmental Protection Agency's successful car and truck standards will lead to significant greenhouse gases emissions reduction. Yet, transportation still is and will continue to be a major contributor to carbon pollution, particularly as the population grows and more goods are shipped. Fortunately, there are three routes to reducing greenhouse gases from transportation. Firstly, increasing the efficiency of vehicles technology. Secondly, changing how we travel and transport goods. And lastly, using lower carbon fuels. Reservoirs that retain carbon and keep it from entering Earth's atmosphere are known as carbon sinks. For example, deforestation is a source of carbon emission into the atmosphere, but forest regrowth is a form of carbon sequestration, with the forests themselves serving as carbon sinks. Carbon is transferred naturally from the atmosphere to terrestrial carbon sinks through photosynthesis. It may be stored in above-ground biomass as well as in soil. Government must play their role to cope with this problem. The first thing they can do is protect and restore key ecosystems. Respect for nature is fundamental. Mangroves also serve as a barrier against tropical storms, and wetlands absorb excess water from floods, both extreme weather events exacerbated by climate change. Next is, they must support small agricultural producers. Today, 80% of all agricultural production goes toward feeding animals, not people. The expansion of land for livestock and the crops to feed them is the most significant cause for deforestation. Government can make a difference by supporting small local producers who, unlike large factory farms, employ sustainable practices, care about land restoration, benefits nearby communities, and make animals and crops more resilient to climate change.
In conclusion, as we all know, humans are responsible for climate change and global warming. Even though it is difficult to stop the effects, we can prevent them slowly. As we discussed before, global warming and climate change are very dangerous to us. They give many bad effects such as air pollution. Therefore, humans need to take care of Earth to reduce the effects of global warming and climate change.